Chair Pfaff, you may begin.
Alrighty, thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Welcome to the January 22nd, 2024 City of Burlingame Planning Commission meeting. For all in attendance today, please note that this Planning Commission meeting is being held in person and using the Zoom webinar format. This meeting is also being streamed live on YouTube and will be uploaded to the city's website. City clerks from around the Bay Area have reported meetings being disrupted during public comment by individuals espousing disturbing comments. Therefore, out of an abundance of caution, the city has made the decision to no longer allow remote public comment during council and commission meetings. For the foreseeable future, we ask that the public either attend the meetings in person to comment or send an email to publiccomment@burlingame.org. Staff will be monitoring emails submitted during the meeting, which will be read at the appropriate time. The length of the email comment should be commensurate with 3 minutes customarily allowed for verbal comments. Agenda item number 2, roll call. The record should note that 6 members of the commission are present this evening. Commissioner Camarado is absent. Agenda item 3, request for AB 2249 remote participation. There are no commissioners participating remotely. Agenda item 4, approval of minutes. We have minutes to review and approve this evening from the January 8th, 2024 regular Planning Commission meeting. Are there any comments, changes, or discussions regarding the minutes? Maybe someone has a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 6th, 8th. What is that? 8th.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Horn and seconded by Commissioner Lowenthal. May I have roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmid. Aye. Commissioner
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lowenthal,
Aye.
Chair Pfaff.
Aye. Okay, moving along to agenda item 5, approval of the agenda. Staff, are there any changes to the agenda?
We have no changes.
And are there any recusals? Okay, there are no recusals. Agenda item 6, public comment, non-agenda. Members of the public may speak about any item not on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to suggest an item for a future Planning Commission agenda may do so during the public comment period. The Ralph Brown Act, the state local agency open meeting law, prohibits the Planning Commission from acting on any matter that is not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Do we have any members of the public attending who wish to speak on any item that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, we're going to move to the next item. Agenda item 7, study items. There are no study items for review. Agenda item 8, consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar consider routine. They are acted on simultaneously unless separate discussion and/or action is requested by the applicant, a member of the public, or a commissioner prior to the time the commission votes on the motion to adopt. This evening, we have 1 item on the consent calendar, item 8A, 1409 Castillo Avenue. Would any member of the public or planning commissioner like to pull this item for discussion? Yes, I have a member of the public would like to speak. So you can come forward and please, your name.
Let us, first we'll do a brief presentation and then we'll have
Oh, I'm sorry.
the applicant come up. We'll treat it just regular action.
Staff report. Oh, sorry about that. May I have the staff report, please?
All right. This is an application for design review and special permit for building height for a new 2-story single unit dwelling and attached garage at 1409 Castillo Avenue, zoned R1. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing dwelling and attached garage to build a new 2-story single unit dwelling and attached garage. The proposed floor area would be 2,856 square feet, where 2,857 square feet is the maximum allowed. The new dwelling would contain 4 bedrooms, so 2 parking spaces, one of which must be covered, are required for the 4-bedroom house. The new attached 1-car garage provides the covered parking space, and 1 uncovered space is provided in the driveway. The staff would note that a special permit for an attached garage is not required since it's being replaced in the same location. The subject property slopes upward approximately 10 feet from the from the front to the rear of the property, which as a result affects the measurement of the overall building height. The proposed finished floor of the house is 9 feet 5 inches above the average top of curb, which closely matches that of the existing house. A special permit is required for the proposed building height of 33 feet 7 inches, where 30 feet is the maximum allowed without a special permit. And that is measured from the average top of curb level to the highest roof ridge. So in summary, the applications that are being requested this evening are design review and special permit for height. At the Planning Commission Design Review Study meeting on December 11th, the commission complimented the design of the project and requested that a rendering be provided, which is shown on the screen here. The commission also had questions related to the exterior lighting at the front of the house and the finish of the front stairs. The applicant submitted a response letter and revised plans and rendering dated January 9th, 2024 to address the commission's concerns. Findings for the design review and special permit for building height are found on pages 3 and 4 of your staff report. At this time, that concludes my staff report. I believe the applicant is here, so we can call the applicant first and then take any public comment after that.
If I have a question of staff, can I?
Sure.
Maybe you know it. Do you happen to know the width of the easement there? The depth?
I believe that is a 10-foot wide easement.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So I would like to call the public forth. Thank you very much.
Make sure we include the applicant afterwards as well.
Should I push the red button? No. Oh,
Okay.
okay. This doc?
Yeah.
Okay, great. My name is Philip Bianchi. I live at 1401 Costello. So I'm on the corner at the bottom of the hill.
Mhm.
So my reason for being here is the height of the house. I think the house is beautiful, but it's a pretty steep hill, and I'm being on the low end of the hill. And then this is going to be probably, I think, overall 11.5 feet higher than the existing dwelling that's currently there. I was here mainly because, I have nothing but a small cabana and a full-on 1,500 square foot deck in my backyard. And that house, how high it will be probably even with the transition lines there with that 1 bedroom looking down into my yard. So looking at it with the house to the right, it's going to obstruct some of their views too. I don't know if they've said anything or whether they know or what, but it definitely is going to obstruct their views of not in the front bedroom, but on the bedroom to the left. They usually look out all the way over through hillside. So that's just me as a concerned homeowner. If you look at the way that the houses all go up the hill, each house is higher than the house to the left of it as it goes up. This is going to make the house even with the house to the right, and it's definitely going to. Fortunately, the sun doesn't rise or set on that side, but it would eclipse the sunlight if it did. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comment.
Mhm.
So now I go to the applicant, right? Can the applicant please come forward?
Good evening, Commissioners. Good to see you. Richard Tronis, I'm the architect for the project. You've seen in our resubmittal, we responded to the few comments and questions that you had, added some notes to the drawings. submitted the rendering for the project. By way of comment, I would note that, as you all know, there is no view ordinance in the lower flat areas. Properties are, adjacent to one another, oftentimes with 4-foot side setbacks. We have met the guidelines for the declining height envelope. We do have a special permit for height, but it's mainly because of the upsloping lot. Otherwise, the property or the house is a fairly typical height relative to adjacent grades. I would note that there is a 10-foot wide easement on the lower downhill side. I would also further note that the upstairs bedrooms, we've made an effort to try to focus obviously the egress windows to the gable ends of those bedrooms. Otherwise, the other windows are into closet spaces, a laundry room, high windows on a bed wall, not your typical view windows. And in fact, the sills are rather high because of the way that we sculpted the dormers and the roof line. So the sill heights aren't very low in those upper floor bedrooms. On the uphill side, the windows are into a bathroom, into the stairwell, and into a desk alcove area. And again, high windows with relatively high windowsills. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Wait a sec, Richard? Sorry. Does anyone have a question? Richard, any? Yes. Yep.
Hey, yeah, Richard,
Right.
do you happen to know, if there are any distant bay views? It seems probably not in that direction from your neighbor to the right.
From the uphill neighbor,
Uphill, Dave.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't want to commit and say for the record. I do know that from the existing property, the neighbor is correct. It's a 1-story existing house. In fact, our client, the property owner, went up on the roof of the existing house because he was a little concerned with what we were designing for his property with the adjacent power lines that are down the easement. And so therefore, that's why we kind of sculpted the house with the roof line sloping away from each side property line. Again, not just because of the declining height requirements, but also to pull away from the side property with the power lines that are in that foreground area. And even if there were, like I said, even if there were distant views out that side, the greater priority was to sculpt the roof line and keep it looking like sort of a 1-story house with attic bases and not create large view windows out from that second floor. Again, other than the 2 gable end walls where we have to have the egress windows anyway. So, but to answer your question, I'm sorry, I don't know if there are great distant views from that uphill neighbor for the record.
Okay, thank you. And then just a quick second question. I see your response about the concrete steps are going to be tiled. I know the quality of your homes and hoping that they're not tile that will have Schluter edges,
No.
actually thick
No, it'd be
exterior grade.
No, it'd be a traditional exterior grade tile, to fit with the craftsman style of the house.
Mhm.
I misspoke at the study meeting. I think the question was what the stairs would be,
Mhm.
and I was talking about the concrete construction. I didn't mean to say that the actual finish would be concrete. We do want to finish it with a tile.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it's not porcelain tile that would need a Schluter edge.
No, no,
Actually,
be an
kind of exterior grade thickness.
Yeah.
Yeah, something. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, and I actually had a quick staff question. Hillside area construction permit begins at Montero. Is that correct? Above Montero?
It varies. We use a map.
Uh-huh.
But I believe it might actually start at like Alvarado
Alvarado.
as you get into
The-
Hillside Circle, kind of
Mhm.
that area. But we rely on a map and a list of addresses, but I believe starts right around that area there.
Okay, and this is obviously below that.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that would be it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much. Okay, so, let's see, then commissioners, any comments?
For the record, there were no public comment emails submitted for this project.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, need to ask that. Thank you very much. And then I'm going to close the public comment. Takes a little bit to get back in the swing. So, any comments from my fellow commissioners?
I'll go. I like this house the last time it came in. I think it treats the hill as best as it can, actually, focusing the height away and towards the middle. And so I think it does a good job of minimizing the height. Given this lot, it would only be 3 feet shorter, even if we didn't grant the higher, and the fact that it's a 10-foot slope up from the curb, we grant these all the time. So I have no concerns with the height and the special permit request. And I think it's a good looking house.
I agree with my fellow commissioner. Beautiful home. I think it's the massing and shaping of it. I think it's very considerate, considering the site and the easement. I would like to say that it might be nice to just reach out to the neighbor to the right and just make sure that, I mean, if there is any view blockage, it'd be upstairs, and those are probably not primary rooms anyway. We don't really protect views from bedrooms and such. But it looks like from the rendering, there was a fairly large one window in the middle of the house. But I would maybe just offer that the applicant just reach out to the neighbor to the right and make sure that they feel good about the proposed massing that's going to be built and next to them. Otherwise, beautiful home. And I think I was the one who made the motion to put this on the consent calendar. So still very much appreciate and like the design.
Yeah, I did also want to add, I think if you're going to be in a neighborhood and something large is going to be built like that, it's wonderful to have that extra easement, which is fabulous. I wish I had that next door to me. So it's and it's an absolutely beautiful home. I think that has taken that also into consideration. So there's always plantings maybe the neighbors could do on their side to kind of, if they're worried about a particular area, they can do. And guess you can't plant in an easement, but sure you can, just not supposed to. So I think I'll make a motion to approve this home
I'll second it. Per the conditions of
for
the
the
report.
conditions of the
The
staff
special
report
permit.
and the extra height. And I do appreciate the explanation. I appreciate the neighbor coming out and commenting as well. Every bit helps. So, all right, then I'm going to, then a motion was made by Commissioner Say, right? Have you done?
Seconded.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, other way around, by me. And seconded by Commissioner Say. So may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmid,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lowenthal,
Aye.
Chair Pfaff.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, then move along to, yes, item 9A, regular action item 2204 Hillside Drive. If you are the applicant and are attending, well, I can see the applicant is here. Okay, so the applicants not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note an ex parte communications regarding the project? No, okay. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
Good evening, Commissioners. This application is for design review and special permit for plate height as well as an attached garage for a new 2-story single unit dwelling with an attached 1-car garage. The applicant is proposing to demolish all structures on site, which is an existing split level single unit dwelling with an attached 1-car garage. This project proposes a total floor area of 3,015 square feet, where 3,020 square feet is the maximum allowed, and this includes the 72 square feet front porch and ADU exemptions. As mentioned, a special permit is being requested for first floor plate height. This request is specifically for the kitchen at the rear right side of the first floor where an 11-foot 4-inch plate height is proposed, and for the front porch where a 10-foot plate height is proposed. However, the remainder of the first floor has a 9-foot plate height. Additionally, they're requesting a special permit for an attached garage, which is required per the code, unless it is replacing an existing attached garage that extends no more than 10 feet beyond the existing location. But in this case, the proposed garage setback of 36 feet and 1 inch is approximately 12 feet and 7 inches forward from the face of the existing attached garage, therefore requiring a special permit. There are a total of 4 bedrooms in the proposed main dwelling. 2 parking spaces, one of which must be covered, are required, and the new attached 1-car garage measures 12 by 21 feet and provides the required covered parking, and 1 uncovered parking space is provided in the driveway. All other zoning code requirements have been met. The site also contains 11 existing non-protected size trees in the rear yard that would all be removed with the construction of a proposed ADU. Based on the proposed floor area, 3 landscape trees are required on site, and the proposed landscape plan includes 3 new 24-inch box landscape trees to be planted, consisting of 2 vine maples and 1 western rosebud. Therefore, the project complies with the urban reforestation ordinance requirements. And staff would lastly like to note that there is currently 1 street tree along the parcel frontage which would remain. Staff is available for any questions at this time. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Rune.
Just interested in the interpretation of the portico requiring a special permit. It doesn't seem to be defined as a plate from my perspective, so it's just surprising that the front roof requires a special permit.
I can answer that. Yes, the plate height is applied to porches. So it's applied to porches just so we don't get, for example, a house with a 9-foot plate height, and then if we don't apply the plate height to the porch, somebody could do a 15-foot tall grand entry, and that's one thing that in the past has been a concern. So the plate height is applied to the front porch, or in this case, with this design element, it's more of a portico, but we'd still apply it in this case.
Okay. I understand the explanation. It's just not a plate, so maybe you want to put a different name to it in the future.
Yeah, I mean, generally porches we see where the roof comes down and sits on the
Right.
plate. In this case, the design is more of a modern take. So,
Yeah.
But we've interpreted or applied the definition to this.
I get it. Thank you.
My question was, I didn't see I think we had asked for some details on transitions and some other issues and the door, and I just didn't see, I don't know if I'm missing something in maybe.
Perhaps the applicant can, when he comes up, he can point that out on the plans.
All right. So are there any other questions of staff? No? Okay, then, all right, I'm going to open the public hearing with the applicant. Please come forward and state your name and anything else you'd like to add.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Ryan Morris with Morris Architecture. I'm also here together with one of the owners, Glenn Shu. And I'll just address some of your comments and questions from the last meeting. I think a lot of these comments can be grouped into a few parts of the house. The front facade was a concern, and the windows related to that. The rear deck and how it transitions to the yard with what we were calling stadium seating, and then some of the materiality of the house. So to summarize, on the front facade, we used to have 4 windows that were different size windows at the second floor. And we've simplified that to do 2 windows matching the shape and proportions of the first floor. I think this is less distracting. It just brings the second floor together. It's more common with the neighborhood pattern of second floor windows. And it just fits with the pattern of the windows on the rest of the house. There were also some concerns about some windows on other sides of the house that just weren't within that same pattern. And so we were able to change several windows, one on the rear, one on the side, that just weren't consistent with the pattern of either tall vertical casement windows or long horizontal transom windows, which is what we're left with. So the house, I think, has a pretty good balance of both, and they tie together well. The mullions on the front of the house align with the taller transoms around the sides. And we provided these 3D renderings at a different angle than what you got before, so you can kind of see the relationship of the front and side and rear all together. The front facade, there was talk about articulation and how to bring some more detail and character to the front. We did explore several ideas, ended up electing to stick with what we have, with, I think, the strength of the new window design and the color renderings. I apologize you didn't get those last time. We feel that this reads really well, and we're pretty pleased with how it came out. I think with the shadow lines, which you don't quite get here from the first floor roof awning above the first floor windows, there's going to be quite a bit of definition between the two floors. And then, of course, the materiality really helps break it up some. There, you can see with these renderings now that there is a stone wainscot going all around the building. That's, again, going to help break down the height and emphasize the horizontality of the building. The material palette's pretty simple, just a base of stucco, an off-white color with a wood siding as an accent at the second floor. And then, like I said, the stone veneer at the wainscot below. The rear deck, we have changed the layout of this. It used to be one large deck with stadium seating and then regular stairs off to one side. This new design, it's kind of hard to see on these. It got cropped on the rendering, but it's consistent with what the landscape design drawing had, where the stairs down to the backyard are integrated into the stadium seating. So I think that really helps tie it together better. And we did want to keep the stadium seating, and I'll explain why. With a small constrained backyard, when you have two levels like that, and you separate it with a railing, which would be required if it was just a drop off, we felt like that was bisecting the yard too drastically for such a small space. And this is an opportunity to connect the whole yard, even though it's on two separate levels, and have some interaction and some connection again between the whole area. So as far as code concerns, each of the steps, the stadium seats, as we might call them, are 36 inches wide, so they're walkways. And the code reads that as long as there's not a 30-inch drop from one walkway to another, or any more than 30 inches, then you don't need a guardrail. So you can think of this in terms of a series of walkways next to each other at different levels. The front door, I apologize, this may not have come, I'm never sure when we submit things. I print the drawings, but then we also have our response letter.
We have it.
You have that? Okay, so there is a image of a,
I didn't catch it the first time.
okay,
I see it now.
okay.
Yeah.
So I think your comment at the last time was, that might be awkward to have a large solid door facing the front entry. And we do want to limit the amount of glass for privacy along hillside. I think that's understandable. And we still have a transom window above that front door. However, a style like the one I've shown you in this attachment can give some some interest and articulation even to the door itself, I think it could be pretty stunning as you approach the home. I think I covered most of the topics that we discussed, but I'm available for comment.
So do we have, does anyone here have questions for the applicant?
Yes.
Okay, yep. Commissioner Schmidt.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the transitions for the windows and the stone and the wood to stone? There's not really any details and everything is shown flat.
Yeah, so with the stone thickness, I'm expecting that to protrude deeper than the wood siding itself. So I am planning on some sort of stone wainscot to transition there, with the wood siding above and the stone below. The windows themselves are not proposed with any trim at this time. We explored that, but we decided to keep it simple and minimal at both the stucco and the wood siding. So those will be just the siding material will dye into the edge window frames. And then the transition from stucco to wainscot would again be similar, where the stucco thickness will be proud of the stone thickness will be proud of the stucco, and there's an opportunity there for another wainscot. I wouldn't want it to look like a cheap stone just slapped on top of the stucco.
But that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't, I appreciate the renderings and they help a lot. The next level is
Yeah.
seeing the material depths is what I really wanted to see.
Mhm.
And so, okay. I think that the windows, the way you've adjusted them help quite a bit. I think they look a lot better, but I would like to, we're not going to get to see it, but consider your transitions quite important, because if you go modern and you inset them, I don't think they're going to look good at all.
I agree.
You at least have them go a half inch proud so that you can dye your finishes to the window frame. It will look a lot better.
Yes,
And then it will have a shadow line to it.
I agree.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, Commissioner Say.
Yeah, thank you. So on the kind of the same wavelength, on the rear perspective, number 4, where we see the taller plate height kitchen against the whatever room is in front of it. There is, and on multiples of your drawings, you have this vertical line transitioning between that taller plate height part of the kitchen and the room to the left. And I think it's the same finish, your stucco finish. Is that intended to be a break with some type of a router detail, shadow line, or is it the same material carrying across?
No, good eye. I think that's a modeling issue. That's intended to be one material, no line, no visible line.
Okay, and same with the transition to the barbecue station, although that could be a different material. It looks like it's stucco as well.
Right, that's our intention, is to keep it consistent with the house. And there does not need to be vertical lines separating those.
Okay, and then per the renderings, you have the kind of the finished closed eave, underside of eaves and that will be planned in the detailing of the project, that you'll have the.
Yeah, and it's also a wood material to match the siding
Mm-hmm.
on the underside of the eaves.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I think I saw this on the plans, but I just want to confirm your eave overhang on the top and the bottom, is that 2 feet?
Don't know offhand, but I'll
Okay.
check. Yeah, that's 2 feet.
2 feet, both the top and the bottom. So, okay. And so the roof, the upper roof is flat, or is it a flat roof on the top?
Both roofs are low slope.
Low slope. Got it. Yeah. Okay. And then I did have a question regarding the portico thing in the front. I'm not seeing, so it is attached to the house, just cannot see the detail. It's attached,
Yeah, it is a,
not like freestanding thing.
right.
And so how much space is there between the top of your, well, where the roof dives into the house and that where the slab, I'm gonna call it, I don't know what to call it,
Yeah.
thing goes into the house, how much?
So it's shown as just 1 foot taller than the first floor plate height of 9 feet. So the front porch would be 10 feet.
But okay, so the plate height is, but I don't think that's where the roof is actually diving into the structure. The plate height is, or is it? Is that? I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Close.
Might be a couple inches of difference
Yeah.
because of the slope.
So I guess my comment is, well, my question, is it kind of like, is it spot on or it's like a couple inches off to look like a mistake?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, you know what I mean?
I'd be happy to move that up another 6 inches if
Well,
that's okay with
I'm
special permit.
actually, yeah, so I'm not actually sure that's a good way to go, but I just was trying to clarify in my mind and also your thought about, I'm trying to understand that element better. And did you, have you considered something in between it sounds like you want pretty sleek, but some other element in between the stone, the top of that pillar thing and this looks like steel or something, I don't know, is it wood? What is the element that is is that a 4x4 that's actually,
Yeah, that'll most likely be steel, much like a 4x4, but
Mhm.
they are thicker. I don't like 4x4s, probably 6x6 at least.
Mhm.
But steel will be a better material for that whole element.
and then the underside is, the whole thing is like steel or what is the whole, like or what is?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I think on top, it'll just be simple roofing material. On the underside, we might use more of the wood like we have on the underside of the roof eaves to bring those together.
Okay. Okay, those were my questions. I had similar questions to my colleagues, but just wanted to know more about that front piece. So, thank you. Any other? No? Okay, so do we have any comments from anybody in the public or in the public comment?
No public comment emails.
All right, then thank you very much. Then I'm going to close the public.
Should I sit down or?
Sure. Yeah. And colleagues, who would like to start?
I can start. I wasn't sure of the house the first time it was submitted, and maybe it was the windows and not being able to see the color rendering. I like it a lot more now. I think the window adjustments made a big difference. I'm fully supportive of portico height. I'm surprised that it needs a special permit. I think we all said the special permit in the back was something that we could support as well. I get the idea for the stadium seating. That doesn't concern me either. So I think the project looks good.
Minutes?
I'll go. Yeah, no, I think it's improved and I appreciate the extra effort put into the 3D renderings because there's quite a bit going here. And it's not one of our more typical looks. So I think it helps us to see what you're trying to accomplish in the areas. I think on the portico roof, you're going to want to spend some time considering the drainage on that and how you're going to get water off and not on my head. And so I think that there's some detailing there that you're going to need for that. I'm also still a little concerned about the left side neighbor and the driveway, just making sure that when you lay out that driveway and everything, that you're not suddenly above that property line. above them on the property line without some sort of retainage. So. Nope, I'm good. I'm just reminding. But otherwise, I can support the special heights. They don't bother me at all. The stadium seating is fine too. I think I think it's a good solution to try and tie those together. So I'm otherwise supportive of the project.
Commissioner Say?
Yeah, I agree with what's been said so far. I think just for the next go around, or depending on how we move forward, that just to see in greater detail how the materials are transitioning, and whether you're planning to have the wood be flush with the stone with a detail in between the materials, whether the stone's going to be proud of the wood or the stucco. I think those are things for you to think about as you transition from plane to plane and round corners. I would like to see that in a little bit more detail.
This is on regular.
This is an action item.
Oh, wait. I thought it was a design review.
No, that was last.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah, no,
so,
you continue.
well, no, I don't think it's necessary to have to continue it. I think that they should think about it for how it's going to be constructed, or are you disturbed by it and want to see?
I think it's come a long way, but I'm not there. There's a lot of things we don't know and a lot of things he doesn't know yet. And I think there are things that we usually do ask for. I'm looking at, I'm seeing also areas that these transitions also could be made quite elegant with some nice finished pieces, but I'm not, for all we know, there won't be there. And so I'm somewhat concerned myself. I'm concerned about that. So I'm having trouble. I think normally we ask for more, some more detail pretty much from everybody. So because there's so many, it's not just one item, it's many. So I don't know actually what to do. And maybe I'm the only one who feels that way, but
Could we consider an FYI on a couple of the details? Because I think overall it's movable. There's a few things that maybe would be nice to know that are taken care of before the building permit's approved. So an FYI might be a nice way to not make it take up more time and still know that those items are taken care of.
Yeah, and forces them to address it sooner as well, so it doesn't affect the design of the house.
how many items can be in an FYI?
I think as many as we'd like. Do you have?
Yeah. I'm not comfortable unless that these areas that everyone's mentioned, these transitions, the plane transition, the various materials, and I don't know. I'm not comfortable with it unless it's quite a FYI detailed, me personally. But.
Well, I guess another downside with an FYI is it could also be submitted during construction. So that's much further down the path too.
And I'll just interject really quickly. We typically will discourage FYIs, and especially FYIs that have a lot of complications, just because it could bring someone back and reopen up the hearing. I mean, if you're having a lot of concerns, first of all, we want to make sure that we'd really delineate what those issues are to make sure that the applicant knows what to come back with. But you could also put it on consent. You could put it on regular action. They could come back. You could take a look at those plans and act on it then as well. So that's another option too, if you believe there's more than one or two issues.
Okay. I would move that we bring this item back on consent with details for the windows and material transitions clarified. And those were it, the transitions and the windows.
Or your driveway, if you wanted. No.
I would add in the garage door. That was my only comment, as I do like the house. The garage door seems like it's screaming for something cool to be done, whether it be a sort of glass that matches the windows or maybe matches the front door. But if we're going to come back on consent, I'd like to see some more detail on that garage door. So I can second that motion.
And I can agree to let you modify my.
Okay. Great, then. So I have wait, who made you made the motion, yes? A motion was made by, oh, did you have something to?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't know.
Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Lowenthal, right? And then I'm going to ask for a vote. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmid,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores.
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lowenthal,
Aye.
Chair Puff.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right. So, oh, then wait a minute. Do I say in action? Not yet.
No,
Okay.
we didn't approve it.
Well, yeah, we didn't. Very good. All right. So then we are moving along to design review study items. Number 10, we don't have any design review study items this evening. Number 11, are there any commissioners' reports? Yes, I just want to report I went to the Broadway specific plan. I guess it was sort of a public meeting 2 days ago, a couple of days ago at the rec center. Yeah, so that was quite interesting and there were quite a few people there. So, but it goes on and that was just one of many, but they were, we looked at a number of images and there was comment about. And then let's see, do we have any director's reports, item 12?
Scott, were you at the last council meeting? Any planning related items?
No, I
I
mean,
don't recall.
we're all excited that the housing elements passed. I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
happened
Mhm.
recently.
Mhm.
So no other director reports.
Okay, great. And then we have item 13, future agenda items. Are there any future agenda items that you would like? Okay. Very good. Then this meeting is adjourned at 7:48. Thank you very much.